You know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Getting stuck on a sadistic alien game show with her cat. Join Carl and Princess Donut as they try to survive the end of the world, or just get to the next level of a trap-filled fantasy dungeon. Welcome to the Otaku Spectrum YouTube channel. Let's get started. Seattle, 2:22 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 minute before the end of the world. Carl stands outside in the cold, wearing a jacket, heart-print boxers, and Crocs. He holds Donut, his ex-girlfriend's cat, close to his chest. Donut is shown, staring ahead with glowing golden eyes. Without warning, Donut smacks Carl in the face with her tail. A blinding red flash erupts, swallowing Carl in its intensity. Moments later, destruction covers the city. A plane has crashed. Buildings lie in ruins. The world has changed. Carl runs barefoot through the rubble, clutching Donut tightly. Carl is shown again. His expression was frozen, shocked. What? In the sky, glowing red letters begin to form. Surviving humans, take note. Carl screams in pain as he kicks away a flying croc with Donut clinging to his head. A timestamp appears. Seattle, 2:24 a.m., 1 minute after the end of the world. Carl hops across cracked ground in confusion. He sees the croc on the ground and shouts, "What the shit is this?" Carl suddenly trips and tumbles violently across the rubble. Blood splatters as his body hits the ground. A floating blue screen appears, stating, "Per syndicate rules, having failed to file a proper appeal within 50 solars of first contact." Carl looks up with Donut beside him and mutters, "The fuck?" The message continues, "Your planet has been successfully seized." Carl finds the bloodied, decapitated head of Mrs. Parsons on the ground. He reaches out and stammers, "Mrs. Parsons!" The scene jumps back in time. 2:17 a.m., 6 minutes before the end of the world. Carl sits on his couch playing video games. Donut rests beside him as explosions echo from the screen. Donut leaps off Carl's lap without warning. A framed photo is shown. Carl stands beside his ex-girlfriend, smiling. Donut sits between them, visibly displeased. Donut walks across the room and stops in front of a wall covered in framed photos. She looks up, her glowing eyes reflecting the images. Among the photos, one shows Carl wearing a Coast Guard dress uniform. Others show him and his ex in various moments. Donut jumps down from the shelf and brushes against a stack of moving boxes. One of them is labeled with Carl's ex's name. Carl gets up from the recliner and lights a cigarette. He sighs as he turns toward the window. Donut rubs against his chin gently before turning away. Carl starts to walk back, but Donut suddenly jumps out of the open window onto a nearby tree branch. A timestamp appears. Seattle, 2:18 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 minutes before the end of the world. Carl spins around and yells, "Hey, get back here!" Carl leans out the window, watching Donut vanish into the snowy night. He grumbles to himself, trying to stay indifferent. "She's not even my cat," he mutters. "She's hers. She'll just jump back in when she's ready." But Donut doesn't come back. Outside, Donut walks across the snowy branch, steady and focused. She leaps down to the ground below and keeps moving. Carl steps away from the window, but he can't shake the unease. He tries to convince himself it's not his problem. Still barefoot, he paces near the window, hesitating. Outside, Donut pauses on the snowy sidewalk. She looks up and a snowflake lands gently on her nose. She lets out a long, angry screech. "Yo!" Carl's patience snaps. He yanks open the front door and steps outside, still in his boxers and jacket. He mutters about forgetting his shoes as the cold hits his bare feet. A timestamp appears. Seattle, 2:19 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 minutes before the end. Carl stares angrily and he looks up. "God damn it, Donut," he growls. Donut continues to yowl at the sky. Carl stands below, glaring up at her. Get down here, he snaps. A second-floor window creaks open nearby. Mrs. Parsons peers out, squinting into the street. What's all the racket about? She mutters. A timestamp appears. 2:22 a.m., 1 minute before the end. Mrs. Parsons leans farther out. Carl, is that you? Donut leaps down from the tree and lands directly into Carl's arms. A new timestamp appears. 2:23 a.m., 30 seconds remaining. Carl gently strokes Donut's fur, trying to calm her. He looks up toward the window and calls out, "Sorry, Bee's cat got out." Mrs. Parsons blinks. "Beatrice?" She scoffs. "You should get rid of that hussy." But before she can finish her sentence, Mrs. Parsons is shown in silhouette, her face lit by the red flash. Boom! A deafening explosion erupts in the distance, shaking the city. A flash of red light ignites the sky as the shockwave rolls through. Carl holds Donut tight as both of them are hit by the blast. Their silhouettes are rocked violently by the force. Carl and Donut look up as the explosion tears through the skyline. Shockwaves ripple across the world. Buildings disintegrate, power lines snap, roads are torn apart. The city around them is completely leveled, flattened in every direction. What was once a neighborhood is now a wasteland. The time is now Seattle. 2:24 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. 1 minute after the end. Mrs. Parsons' severed head lies next to Carl's sandal. She's dead. Both stand frozen in shock. Everyone in that building is gone. There's nothing left of the city. A million people gone. Carl stands amidst the destruction, Donut perched silently on his shoulder. Horror is etched across his face. A soft chime echoes above him. A glowing blue system message appears in the sky. Every interior of your world has been crushed. All raw materials are being mined for the requested elements. Carl winces, grabbing his head as a sharp pain pulses behind his eyes. The words themselves feel like pressure in his skull. Another message chimes in. Per the Mined Material Reclamation Act, subsection 35, any surviving humans will be given the opportunity to reclaim their lost lives. Carl blinks. Reclaim, he mutters aloud. Suddenly, red beams shoot up from the shattered ground. They stab into the sky like signal towers. A third system message flickers. The assigned regent, the Borat Corporation, has selected the 18-level world dungeon option. Carl, stunned, crouches and picks up his sandal. He mutters, confused. World dungeon? Like Dungeons and Dragons? Carl stands in the ruined city, a red glow pulsing behind him. Donut remains perched on his shoulder, tail twitching. He looks up at the sky, narrowing his eyes. Who was broadcasting that? He mutters. A new system message appears above him, glowing cold and corporate. The Borat Corporation retains all rights to broadcast, exploit, and otherwise control all aspects of the world dungeon, barring violation of syndicate regulations. Another chime dings. Carl walks toward a wide staircase embedded in the broken earth. Torches line both sides, flickering in the cold air. He pauses at the top of the stairs, staring down into the unknown. They're all dead, he whispers. Do I really want to go down here? The system responds as if reading his thoughts. Upon successful completion of level 18 of the world dungeon, regency of this planet will revert to the winner. Another chime echoes. A syndicate neutral observer, AI, myself, has been created and dispatched to supervise the creation of the world dungeon and to ensure all rules and regulations are properly followed. Carl's hands tremble slightly. Do I even have a choice, he thinks. If I don't get out of this cold, I'll freeze to death. The system continues. The first level of this dungeon will open approximately 18 seconds after the end of this announcement. The first level entrances will be open for exactly 1 human hour. And 1 hour only. Carl curses under his breath. Crawlers who choose to enter the world dungeon must find a staircase and descend to the next level down before the allotted time is up for that level. Once the time has passed, the level will be reclaimed, and all matter in the level will be forfeit. Carl holds Donut out in front of him as he takes the first step downward. His breath fogs the air. If you choose to enter the world dungeon, it is highly recommended you immediately find and utilize a tutorial guild. This is Dungeon Floor 1, time to level collapse, 5 days. Carl and Donut continue descending the torchlit stairs. The flames cast shifting shadows on the stone walls. Their footsteps echo into the cold silence. Another chime rings out overhead. If you have a complaint, it must be submitted directly in writing to the closest syndicate office. Carl and Donut reach a landing. A massive door towers in front of them, carved with glowing red runes. Another chime echoes softly. Thank you for being a part of the syndicate. Have a great day. Carl sighs and steps forward, holding Donut in both hands. Suddenly, a new message flashes. This is a rendition of a Kuatin, the dominant species of the Borat system and principal owners of the Borat Corporation. Make sure you recognize these guys. There'll be a test later. Carl stares at it. Was that a joke? He mutters. The message abruptly vanishes, zapped closed, without him touching anything. Carl blinks. Did that just close because he thought about it? That's inside my head, he says quietly. He steps forward and pushes open the massive door. A long hallway stretches before him, torches burning on both sides. Then, ow! Carl yelps as Donut sinks her teeth into his hand. Hey! Carl snaps as she jumps out of his hands. God damn it, Donut! But Donut bolts. Carl stumbles after her. As he runs, the massive doors slam shut behind them with a thunderous boom. Carl flinches, startled. Above them, glowing glyphs swirl in the air, strange characters in an incomprehensible language, shifting and twisting in place. A new system voice chimes. This one, different, more excited, almost playful, like a game show host. Welcome, crawler! Welcome to the first floor. Carl narrows his eyes. That one sounds different, he mutters. He waves his hand through the floating text. To his surprise, Donut does the same, lifting a paw and mimicking the gesture like she sees the message too. Another message appears, bold and bright. Crawler number 4119. Princess Donut, level 1. Race, category, class, not yet assigned. They both proceed through the blue-lit doorway. Blue torches ignite along the hallway walls, casting an otherworldly glow. Carl pauses, mesmerized by the shifting light. A system chime rings out in his head. You have been designated crawler number 4122. You are assigned the race of human. You are currently level 1. You may choose a new race and class as soon as you descend to the 3rd floor. Your stat points have been assigned based on your current physical and mental profile. See the stat menu for more details. Carl blinks. Stats? Menu? It's like a dash. Before he can finish the thought, a flurry of system messages erupt all at once. Bronze pet box received. Another chime follows. New achievement unlocked. Trailblazing crazy cat lady. Carl groans. Why can't I close these ones? The system interrupts again, more smug this time. You are the first crawler to have entered the world dungeon accompanied by a cat. You must really love that thing. Too bad you're both probably going to die a horrible death at any moment. Or maybe not. Look at the prize you just received. A fanfare sounds in his ears. Reward! You've received a legendary pet box. More notifications chime in rapid succession. Carl winces, raising a hand to his temple. How am I supposed to bring up the menu? Ding. You've received a silver adventurer box. Ding. New achievement. Empty pockets. Ding. You didn't bring any supplies? None. You know you still gotta eat, right? Carl scoops up donut and bolts down the hallway. Ding. Reward. You've received a bronze adventurer box. Ding. New achievement. Why aren't you wearing pants? Ding. You entered the dungeon wearing no pants. Dude. Seriously. Another gift box crashes down from above. Carl yells in frustration. Stop! Ding! Reward! You've received a gold apparel box. Ding. New achievement, unarmed combat. Carl slows down as he approaches a glowing sign, Welcome to Da Tutorial Guild, lit up like a gaudy neon casino entrance. The ridiculousness of it all leaves him speechless. Ding. So, you're just gonna waltz into something called a world dungeon and you're not even gonna bring a weapon? You're either braver than you look or just an idiot. Ding. Reward. You've received a bronze weapon box. Ding. New achievement, loner. Ding. You entered the dungeon without any human companions. Didn't anyone teach you there's safety in numbers? Carl now stands alone, a lone spotlight casting his shadow. Silence falls. Ding. Reward. None. Ha ha. You are so dead. The message lingers. You are so dead. It rings in his ears. His eyes widen. Sweat beads on his brow. S.O. dead. He takes a slow, nervous step forward, still clutching donut. Step. Dead. The word echoes again. A taunt. A curse. Carl scans the shadows, unsure if this is all an elaborate prank or the start of a nightmare. Ding. New achievement. Fall into an obvious trap. Reward. Well, if there's a heaven, and if you haven't been too much of an asshole, maybe they'll let you in. A sudden spotlight explodes overhead, blinding Carl. He instinctively drops to a crouch, shielding Donut from the glare. And then, roaring engines. A monstrous armored vehicle tears into view, covered in spikes, blazing forward like a nightmare on wheels. Goblin riders cling to its sides, armed and howling, their eyes gleaming with bloodlust. Because you're about to meet your maker. Carl's face drains of color, eyes wide, jaw slack. Oh shit.